The blade that ended the king weeps for the throne it couldn't save. Book of Cain. In the Altus Plateau's ruins, a warrior finds the grafted blade Greatsword. Its surface oozes dark ichor, a silent elegy to Godrick's final, futile stand. The grafted blade's bleeding is no defect, it is a curse witness to Godrick's betrayal, the black knives struck with Marika's stolen shard. A hollow god's last breath, spurned by those who called him brother. What did he see in death's mirror? The grafted blade does not blade, the wielder bleeds. A wound opens in the palm of every grasp, a scar Godrick carved into the lands between. You swing, the Erdtree recoils. You stagger, the first Elden Lord's throne crumbles in your mind. Betrayal flashes, blades where loyalty should gleam. A king's faith shattered by the black knives, not a weapon, a wound reopened. To wield it is to inherit a collapse. Godrick's divine essence rots in your veins, you see his crown slip, you feel his blood cool, the Erdtree cast him out. Now it casts you out, the blade does not guide, it drags you backward through the ash of his final hours. A king's failure becomes your loop, swing, miss, blade hollowed, what monument stands here? Not power, a tomb. Godrick's legacy is not his wars but the curse he left behind. The grafted blade does not kill. It kneels you before a truth, the first Elden Lord's throne was never meant to last. His blood was never meant to clot, the lands between rejected him, they reject you. The sword's edge mirrors the fracture in the Elden tree, a testament to what? That even gods are not whole. That even kings are not kings, only a wound, only a loop, only the hollow waiting to claim you. The grafted blade does not blade, the wielder bleeds. A wound opens in the palm of every grasp, a scar Godrick carved into the lands between. You swing, the Erdtree recoils. You stagger, the first Elden Lord's throne crumbles in your mind. Betrayal flashes, blades where loyalty should gleam. A king's faith shattered by the black knives, not a weapon, a wound reopened. To wield it is to inherit a collapse. The divine essence of Godrick, the father of gods, rots in your veins. You see his crown slip, you feel his blood cool. The Erdtree cast him out, now it casts you out, the blade does not guide. It drags you backward through the ash of his final hours. A king's failure becomes your loop, swing, miss, blade hollowed. What monument stands here? Not power, a tomb. Godrick's legacy is not his wars but the curse he left behind. The grafted blade does not kill, it kneels you before a truth, the first Elden Lord's throne was never meant to last. His blood was never meant to clot, the lands between rejected him, they reject you. The sword's edge mirrors the fracture in the Elden tree, a testament to what? That even gods are not whole. That even kings are not kings, only a wound, only a loop, only the hollow waiting to claim you. The blade first drank the blood of the shattered. Godrick, hollowed and howling, gripped its hilt as the stars fractured above him. His final strike cleaved the sky, but the wound it opened bled downward into the earth, into his own ribs. The black knives claimed it afterward, sheathing the sword in their ceremonial halls. Yet their hands blackened where they touched the hilt, their oaths unraveling like frayed rope. They called it a trophy. It called them liars. When the Erdtree's light dimmed, the Tarnished found the blade half buried in Altus. Frost clung to its gashes, the steel perpetually scabbing over. One among them lifted it, fingers numb, breath shallow, and the sword wept. Crimson rivulets pooled on the Tarnished's gauntlets, not from the weapon, but from the ground itself. The land remembered Godrick's failure. The land remembered its own unraveling. The greater will, in its infinite eyelessness, turned away. Its architects left blueprints of power, but this blade was no tool. It was a scar. A monument to the god who could not hold his own crown. The Tarnished carried it further, into storms that peeled flesh from bone. Some say the bleeding quickens when the sword is swung. Others claim it slows, as if mourning the arcs of its own strikes. The weapon's curse is not in its edge. It is in its witness. It saw Godrick's final breath dissolve into the shattering. It saw the black knives' lies calcify. It sees now the Tarnished, exiles with no home to reclaim. What does a blade forged in desperation understand of victory? Only this, that even gods must learn to let go, and the grafted blade Greatsword has never let go, not once. Not since the first drop of the shattered king's blood seeped into its core. This item is more than what it does, its meaning is wider than its function, not a weapon, a tomb. The Erdtree's roots drink deeper in Farum Azula, a living vessel of the Elden Ring. The blade's bleed is not a curse. It is a confession. Godrick's failure, etched in iron, hums beneath every strike. A king's last act, not to rule, but to rot. The grafted blade does not bleed for the dead, it bleeds for the unmaking. Each crimson rivulet mirrors the first wound of the shattering scar the lands between could not heal. This is no relic of conquest, but a ledger of divine debt. When the Greater Will abandoned its forge fire, when the Erdtree turned its roots from rot, Godrick's final act was to become the answer to a question no god could ask. Asterisk what remains when purpose is drained from power. Asterisk the sword's hum is not a battle cry. It is a dirge. A dirge for the first Elden Lord who mistook hollow for holy, who carved his throne from the same sickness that now gnaws the Golden Order. To grip its hilt is to feel the weight of a truth the lands between dare not name. The Erdtree's silence is not betrayal. It is mercy. The dead are cast aside not as punishment, but as preservation. Let the blade bleed. Let its iron confess what the stars have forgotten to say. Here lies the testament of a king who built his godhood on a lie that sacrifice could be separated from decay. The grafted blade is his epitaph, its edge honed by the very erosion it failed to stop. Every strike echoes the unspoken law of the lands between. Power without end is a wound without a cure. The bleeding will not cease, the curse will not pass. For in the heart of the Greater Will's abandoned child, there is no soul left to weep, only the hollow. Only the hum, only the confession. The blade lies in Altus Plateau's shattered bones. Ichor weeps from its steel, a wound that never clots. The Erdtree turns its roots away, not a weapon, not a relic, a scar. Tarnished who touch it feel the hollowing and unraveling, a voiceless scream. They drop it, always. The curse does not kill, it unmakes. Godrick's final testament, no, this is no triumph. This is the proof of a king who could not even graft his own death onto the world. Time avoids it. Decay avoids it, only the plateau's dead winds whisper, only the plateau's dead winds listen. What did he carve into this steel in the moment before the realm forgot him? Not power, not legacy, a question. A confession, a failure. The sword does not hunger, it mourns. The grafted blade bleeds not as a wound, but as an echo, a cycle's final breath. Its crimson stain is the age's rot made visible, the slow decay of order clawing back against its architect. This is no relic of triumph, it is a confession etched into steel, a god's failed pact with permanence. Divine figures do not vanish, they collapse. Godrick's hollowed form, his crown of ash, his shattered wholesale whisper the same truth, power curdles when severed from purpose. The blade's curse is not unique, it is inevitable. A mirror held up to every golden rain, every silver promise warped by time's indifference. Wielders feel the weight first. Then the ache, then the rejection. The sword does not choose, it rejects, it remembers. It is a monument to the unasked question, what remains when a god's design fractures? The answer lies in the blood on the snow. The answer lies in every age that follows, repeating the same mistake. Godrick's final act was not conquest, it was surrender. The blade's mourning is not for him. It is for the cycle itself, the endless, hollowed dance of order and its betrayal, a failure carved into the earth. A testament to the one truth no god can defy, nothing is built to last. The grafted blade bleeds not for Godrick's soul, but for the root beneath its steel. A curse-carved greatsword, it drinks the hollowed god's failure, his final testament to a throne that rotted before his fall. What guilt stirs in its rust? The death root waits in the soil, and Godwin's shadow gnaws at the bones of those